Everyone in the Crimson Lounge thought I was kissing my fiancée. Only two people in that room knew the truth. Me, and the woman whose mouth was pressed against mine while her hand shook against my chest. The lounge was packed with the city's richest people. Low jazz, heavy bass, red velvet seats, golden light hanging from chandeliers. The air smelled like whiskey, perfume, and money. I had started the night in a suit jacket and tie, but somewhere between round 2 and 3 of fake small talk, the jacket came off. Now it was just my gray t-shirt, my racing pulse, and Elena standing inches from me in a silver slip dress. Her hair fell over one shoulder like a dark wave. Her lipstick was perfect. Her jaw was tight. A single tear sat on her lash line, fighting to stay put. Her fingers clamped around my arm like I was the last solid thing in the room. She lifted her hand to cover her mouth, like she was about to tell me some sweet secret. To everyone watching, it looked romantic. To me, it felt like a fire alarm. "Do it," she whispered behind her hand. Her voice shook just enough that only I could hear it. "Right now, Elias, please." We were standing right in the center of the lounge. The firm's board members and partners were spread around us, laughing and drinking. One of them mattered more than all the others. Mr. Takahashi, the billionaire client, sat at the far end of the bar, watching us over the rim of his glass. He liked stability. He liked family. He liked loyalty. He liked to work with people who looked settled. So 6 weeks ago, Elena had told him she was engaged. To me. At the time, I thought it was a clever move. A harmless lie. Fake rings for one dinner. Put the client at ease. Lock the biggest contract of our careers. Now the lie was staring back at us across the room with dark, sharp eyes and a net worth that could end our firm with one word. "I cannot just do that," I muttered, my throat tight. "Everyone is watching." "Exactly," she hissed softly. She tilted her head back so I could see her eyes. They were glassy and full of fear, a look I had never seen on Elena Vance in the office. "Kiss me, or they will know we are just pretending. If he walks, the firm goes under. I lose everything." She had spent 20 years building Vance architecture in a city that did not want to give a woman a corner office, let alone a whole firm. She was my boss, my mentor, and the person who had taken a chance on me when I showed up with student debt, a half-finished portfolio, and a chip on my shoulder. The desperation in her voice punched straight through every line I thought I would not cross. So I crossed it. I slid my hand up her bare back, feeling the warm, smooth skin under the thin silk. With my other hand, I framed her jaw, thumb brushing the sharp line of her cheek. I pulled her close until there was no space between us. "Close your eyes, Elena," I murmured. She did. When my mouth met hers, it was not the light, fake kiss we had joked about in the office. It was hard, and sudden, and full of panic, and something else I did not want to name. Champagne on her tongue, fear in the way her fingers clutched my shirt. The noise of the bar dropped out for 3 long seconds. No jazz, no glasses clinking, no gossip, only her lips trembling against mine and her heartbeat racing under my hand. We broke apart slowly, our foreheads still touching. I kept my head bowed so the room would only see the shape of us, not the shock on my face. "Did he buy it?" she breathed. I glanced past her shoulder. Mr. Takahashi raised his glass toward us with a small, pleased smile. At the next table, Sterling, senior partner and Snake in a designer suit, looked like he had just swallowed a lemon. "He bought it," I said quietly. "Good," she whispered. The mask slid back over her face. Her shoulders squared. The famous cool look returned, but her cheeks were still flushed. She stepped back and smoothed her dress like she could iron the moment out of it. "Now we just have to keep this lie alive for 6 weeks without killing each other," she said. Then she walked toward the bar, leaving me standing in the middle of the room with the taste of my boss on my lips and the slow, sinking feeling that I had just signed a contract I could not afford to break. The elevator ride to the 40th floor the next morning felt like standing in a pressure tank. Elena stood in front, facing the doors, scrolling on her tablet like nothing in the world could touch her. Navy blazer, white shirt, sharp trousers, heels that hit the marble like gunshots. Her hair was pinned back. No trace of the woman in the silver dress. I watched her in the stainless steel reflection. She did not look at me once. When the doors opened, she spoke. "We need ground rules," she said, walking out into the open office. Her tone was cool and flat. Miss Vance, not the woman who had begged me to kiss her. "Agreed," I said, following her past the drafting tables. "Rule 1, she said, her heels snapping against the floor. "Sterling cannot know the truth. He wants my chair. If he finds out I lied to Mr. Takahashi about my personal life to secure the contract, he will invoke the morality clause, and the board will remove me." "Sterling has wanted you gone since the day you took the corner office," I said. "He is waiting for you to slip." Quote, "Which is why we will not slip," she answered. We reached her glass-walled office. She hit the door button. It shut behind us with a soft hiss. She pressed another button, and the glass went from clear to fogged, hiding us from the rest of the firm. "Rule 2, she said, leaning back against her huge oak desk. For the first time I saw how tired she looked. The skin under her eyes was bruised with lack of sleep. "No one in the office knows. To them, we are strictly professional. The engagement is only for Mr. Takahashi and the board." "Fine," I said. "But that is going to be hard when he sent me an email at 6 this morning." Her eyes snapped up. "What email?" I pulled out my phone and scrolled. "He wants us to visit the Aspen site this weekend," I said. "Wants his favorite engaged couple to stay at the cabin on the property and absorb the atmosphere before the final design." Her head dropped back against the edge of the desk. She closed her eyes and pinched the bridge of her nose. "The cabin," she said. "The one with the single master suite." "That is the one," I said. "Romantic, very private, one bed." "God help me," she muttered. A sharp knock hit the glass. The fog cleared as the door opened. Sterling stepped in without waiting for an invite. His suit was dark, his tie perfect, his smile sharp. "Morning, lovebirds," he drawled. His gaze flicked between us, hungry for weakness. "Mr. Takahashi is over the moon. Says he has never seen a couple with such intense chemistry." My jaw clenched. I stepped half a pace forward, putting myself between him and Elena. "Do you need something, Sterling?" I asked. "Or did you come by just to review my personal life?" "Relax, Elias," he said, but his eyes were ice. "Just checking in. Audit for the quarterly expenses starts next week. I would hate for any irregularities to pop up. For example, a fake expense account for a wedding that is not happening." He let the words hang in the air, then smiled. "Enjoy Aspen," he said as he turned to leave. "Do not do anything I would not do." The door clicked shut. The fog returned. Elena sank into her chair. For a second, without the glass and the heels and the pose, she looked small behind that massive desk. "He suspects," she said. "He is fishing," I said. My stomach felt like it was full of rocks. I had medical debt climbing by the month. I needed this job more than I liked to admit. "We just have to give him nothing to catch." She straightened, the weakness gone in a breath. She pulled a blueprint toward her. "Pack your bag, Elias," she said, her tone back to steel. "We are going to Aspen." The drive to Aspen was 4 hours of tight silence and bad weather. She drove her black SUV like she did everything else in life. Fast, precise, determined. Snow started to fall halfway through the trip. By the time we hit the mountain road, the flakes were thick and the sky was dark. I sat in the passenger seat, watching the white lines disappear under the wheels. "You know you are gripping that handle like it is a life raft," she said, eyes on the road. "I prefer my blood inside my body," I said. "Call me old-fashioned." "I have never been in an accident," she answered, a little defensive. "There is a first time for everything," I muttered. She snorted, but the tension in her jaw did not ease. The heater blasted hot air. She was always cold. I was sweating in my coat. We turned onto the private access road to the Takahashi site. The snow came harder, slanting sideways in the wind. The wipers could not keep up. "Lena, slow down," I said, leaning forward. "Visibility is trash. There is ice under this." "We are almost there," she said. "GPS says 2 miles. "The GPS does not see black ice," I said. "Slow down." She eased off the gas, but the road had its own plan. A deer shot out from the wall of white. Her hands jerked on the wheel. The SUV swerved. The tires lost grip. In the blink of an eye, we were spinning, the world outside, turning into a wild blur of white and dark tree trunks. I threw my arm across her chest, pinning her against the seat, trying to shield her from a crash I could not stop. We hit the snowbank with a hard crunch. The engine cut. The world went quiet except for the wind. For a second, neither of us moved. "You okay?" I asked, breathing hard. My arm was still across her body. I could feel her heart slamming against my forearm. She looked at my arm, then up at me. "I think so," she said, voice shaky. I pulled my arm back. Cold air filled the space between us. I forced my door open against the packed snow and stepped out into the storm. The front of the SUV was buried. Steam hissed from the radiator. We were not going anywhere tonight. I looked back at her through the open window. Snow clung to her hair. Her hands were shaking on the wheel. For the first time, there was no boardroom armor, no practiced control, only a woman who almost lost control on a mountain road. "Well," I yelled over the wind. We wanted forced proximity. The universe delivered. She did not roll her eyes. She did not throw a sharp line at me. She just unbuckled her seatbelt, fingers still unsteady, and met my gaze. "I am sorry," she said. It was the first time I had ever heard Elena Vance apologize to anyone. I took off my gloves and pushed them into her hands. "Put these on," I said. "Just for a minute." Quote. She hesitated, like accepting help hurt more than the crash, then slid her fingers into the warm leather. Out here, there was no audience, no client, no board. Just us, a broken car, a snowstorm, and a lie that was starting to feel a lot less fake. The walk from the stuck SUV to the cabin was short on paper and long in real life. Snow hit us in the face in hard, sideways sheets. I slung both our bags over my shoulder and walked in front so my body could block some of the wind. Elena followed close, boots crunching behind me, my gloves still on her hands. By the time we reached the Takahashi cabin, my jeans were soaked and my eyebrows had ice on them. From the outside, the place looked like something from a magazine. Dark wood, big glass walls, warm light glowing inside. Rich people's idea of simple mountain living. On the inside, it felt like a very expensive glass box. Floor-to-ceiling windows on two sides, a stone fireplace, a long wood table. A sleek gray couch that looked good and felt awful when I tested it with a hand. Elena stood in the middle of the living room, turning slowly, trying to take it in and calm down at the same time. "It is beautiful," she said. "It is cold," I answered, already moving. I checked the deadbolt on the front door, the latch on the sliding glass door, the windows. Old habit. Then I found the breaker panel, the thermostat, the stack of wood by the fireplace. In 10 minutes, I had a fire going. 2 flashlights lined up on the counter, and 3 bottles of water on the table. When I turned back, she was watching me with a strange expression. Not her usual sharp, fix that detail look. Something softer. "What?" I asked. "Nothing," she said. Her shoulders dropped a little. "You move like you expect something to go wrong." "I prefer to be ready when it does," I said. She walked down a short hall and opened a door. A second later, her voice floated back. "1 bedroom," she announced. I followed her and looked in. King-size bed. Thick white comforter. 2 lamps. 1 fluffy rug. 1 door. No couch. No second bed. No way to pretend there were separate rooms. She stood there holding her overnight bag like it was about to explode. "And the couch out there," she added, "looks like it was designed by a chiropractor who hates people." "I will take the couch," I said at once. I dropped my duffel by the kitchen island. End of discussion. "Do not be a martyr," she snapped, turning to face me. "You are 6'2". You will not fit." "I will fit fine," I said. "I have done worse." "We can share," she said, the words coming out fast, like she was pushing them past her own pride. "It is a big bed. We are adults. We can just sleep. No drama." "Elena," I said, meeting her eyes. She had taken off her blazer. The silk blouse under it made her look less like my boss, and more like a woman stuck in the snow with me. "If Sterling calls or Takahashi wants a video check, then yeah, we need to look legit. But right now, you are my boss. I am your employee. I sleep on the couch." Her chin lifted. "Fine," she said. "Suit yourself." She disappeared into the bedroom and shut the door. The latch clicked in a way that sounded more tired than angry. 2 hours later, I was hunched over the low coffee table, my laptop open and my sketch roll spread out, fighting with the atrium design Takahashi hated. The wind howled around the cabin. The glass walls shook slightly now and then. The fire crackled. My back ached from the bad angle. The bedroom door opened. Elena walked out, wrapped in a thick gray cashmere throw, clutching a mug of tea. Her hair was up in a loose knot. She was barefoot, in black leggings and a soft sweatshirt. She looked small without her heels and her hard office armor. She went straight to the window and stared out at the storm. "The load on the east wing is wrong," she said after a minute, her voice flat. I did not look up. "I calculated it twice," I said. "It holds." "It holds for standard Chicago snow," she said, still facing the glass. "Not for an aspen blizzard. Look at the roof line. The drift will pile here and here." She walked over and leaned over my shoulder, blanket slipping a little. Her hair fell forward, brushing my cheek. She smelled like peppermint tea and clean skin. She took the red pencil from my hand, pulled my sketch toward her, and drew a firm line across my layout. "Reinforce the truss here and here," she said. "Shift the support column by 12 inches. "That ruins the open concept," I argued. "He wants sky and glass." "He wants a roof that does not crush his guests," she shot back. "Competence is the best aesthetic, Elias." She was right. I hated that she was right. "Fine," I muttered. I erased my original lines and started redrawing. "I will fix it." "Good," she said. She straightened, tightening the throw around herself. For a second, she lingered there, looking down at my hands as they moved. "You have a good hand," she added, almost grudging. "Your drafting is clean, deliberate." I felt heat rise in my face like I was a rookie again. "Thanks," I said, keeping my eyes on the page. "Do not stay up all night," she said, turning back toward the bedroom. She paused in the doorway. "And Elias?" "Yeah?" "Thank you," she said quietly. "For the car, for checking on me." "Go to sleep, boss," I said. She closed the door. This time, the click sounded less like a wall and more like a question. By the third day, the storm had turned from scary to annoying. The main road was still closed. The plows had not made it up to the private drive yet. We were stuck, so we fell into a strange routine. I woke up first. My back complained about the couch every morning, but I had slept in worse spots. I would start the fire, make coffee, black for her, sugar for me, and scrape the ice off the front step with the fireplace poker so we did not eat it going outside. She would come out around 8, no heels, no blazer, just wool socks that made her slide on the hardwood, and a sweater that actually looked warm. We worked across from each other at the long table, laptops and sketch rolls spread out between coffee rings. The edge between us was still sharp, but it was different. Less, "Prove you belong here," and more, "Let us make this better." She did not just shut down my ideas. She asked questions. What if we move the staircase here? What if the glass wall wraps this corner? Quote, instead of defending every sketch, I listened. On Tuesday afternoon, I went out on the tiny deck to call my mom. Reception was bad. I had to stand at the far corner, pressed against the cold railing. "Mom, I know," I said, holding the phone tight. "Yes, I saw the letter. The hospital wants payment now." "I am handling it. The bonus from this project will cover the surgery and the arrears. Just tell Dad not to worry, okay?" I hung up and stood there for a second, the cold air burning my lungs. My whole body felt heavy. $600,000 in medical bills. Second jobs. Side gigs. 2 roommates. All of it stacked on my shoulders. When I finally went back inside, Elena was at the table, pretending she had not been watching me through the glass. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Fine," I lied. "Just family stuff." She did not push. She just went back to her screen. An hour later, I got up to refill my water. When I came back, my workspace looked different. My stack of messy reference drawings was now sorted in neat piles. Each pile had a binder clip. My pencil had been sharpened to a perfect point. Next to my sketchbook, there was a plate of toast, still warm, cut diagonally, and a fresh cup of coffee. Elena sat at the other end of the table with her headphones on, typing. She did not look up. I sat down slowly and took a bite. Cinnamon and butter. Exactly how I liked it. You missed a section on the elevation, she said without looking away from her screen. She slid her headphones down to her neck. North wall. HVAC clearance. I did not, I said, half through the toast. You did, she replied, but I fixed it while you were pacing on the deck. I stared at her. At her loose hair, the small crease between her eyebrows, the soft line of her mouth. Why? I asked. She glanced at me, eyes guarded. Because we are a team, Elias, she said. Because if you do not get this bonus, your dad does not get his surgery, and if the design fails, none of us get paid. I do not like losing. The air went thin. Thank you, I said. My voice came out rougher than I wanted. Eat your toast, she said, turning back to her screen. But I saw the corner of her mouth twitch up. Later that night, I noticed her flexing her right hand over and over, her fingers tight around her stylus after hours of notes and redraws. While she took a call with the Chicago team, I filled a small bowl with warm water and set it on the table next to her spot. I added a packet of instant heat wraps I found in the cabin ski injuries kit. When she hung up, she saw them. You did not have to do that, she said. Soak your hand for 5 minutes, I answered, already focusing on my laptop again. Then you can go back to bullying my trusses. She laughed, quiet and real. Then she did what I said. By Thursday, the roads were finally open. Mr. Takahashi's assistant sent a message. He wanted a video dinner to see his favorite couple and hear about the progress. We set the laptop on the coffee table in front of the fire. The camera framed the couch and the flames behind us. Elena sat close enough that our shoulders touched. A bottle of red wine sat open between us, just for show at first. You look radiant, Elena, Takahashi said from the screen, smiling. Marriage suits you. It does, she said, leaning her head against my shoulder. It was part of the act. It still made my chest tighten. Elena takes good care of me, I said, sliding my hand over hers where it rested on her knee. My thumb traced the line of her palm. I felt her shiver. I would be lost without her. We talked about glass, load, budget, atmosphere. We laughed at his jokes. We fit together, like we had been doing this for years, not days. By the time he ended the call and promised the contract was almost certain, the cabin felt too small for my heartbeat. Elena shut the laptop with a snap and let out a loud breath. We did it, she said, turning to me, eyes bright. Did you see his face? We nailed it. I grinned back at her. The firelight painted her skin gold. The sharp lines of her looked softer, warmer. We did, I said. He is ours. We were still sitting close. Her knee pressed against my thigh. Her hand stayed in mine. The wine bottle was half empty now, but it was not the alcohol making my head spin. Elias, she said, voice lower. The joking tone was gone. The air between us shifted, heavy, charged. She did not move away. She leaned in. So did I. The kiss that followed had nothing to do with a client, or a lie, or a crowd watching. It was slow and deep and careful, like both of us were afraid and brave at the same time. Her fingers slid into my hair. My hands settled at her waist, holding her steady, not pulling too hard. I paused for a second, breaking just enough to look into her eyes. Tell me, I said, my voice rough. Is this what you want? She nodded once, not shy, not unsure. Sure. Yes, she whispered. Do not stop. I did not. For the first time, it was not pretending. And that was exactly when my phone started to buzz on the floor. My brain was still trying to catch up to the way Elena tasted when my phone started buzzing against the rug. Once. Twice. 3 times. Whoever it was, they were not giving up. We pulled apart, breathing hard. Her hand was still on my chest, fingers curled into my shirt. Her lips were pink and swollen. For a heartbeat, all I wanted to do was lean back in and forget the rest of the world existed. The phone buzzed again. I reached down and grabbed it. The screen lit up with a name that made my stomach drop. Sterling. I opened the message. First, there was a PDF. The preview showed my name, my address, and a long list of numbers. Under it, another file. Budget_Aspen_Phase 2. XLSX. Then a short text. Sterling. Interesting financial situation, Elias. Shame about the $600,000 in hospital debt. Stranger still, that the Aspen budget has a $50,000 gap. I wonder if Elena knows you have been skimming to pay Daddy's bills. I am sure the board will be fascinated. My blood went cold. What is it? Elena asked. Her palm was still on my collarbone. I could feel her thumb moving like she was trying to calm both of us down. I turned the phone so I could see both her and the words at the same time. Sterling, I said. He is framing me. I handed her the phone. She read the text. Her eyes flicked to the PDF preview, to the second file name, to my face. How much of this is true? She asked quietly. The debt, I said. That part is real. My dad's surgery, the aftercare, the calls, the letters. I never touched the Aspen budget, Elena. You know how careful I am with numbers. She closed her eyes for a second, then pushed herself to her feet. Pack up, she said, her voice flat. The softness from the kiss slid off her like a coat. We leave at first light. The drive back to Chicago felt like a 4-hour fall. There was no music, no small jokes, no warm coffee stops, just miles of gray road, snow melting on the sides, and two people who had just crossed a line and then watched the ground open under them. She drove. I stared out the window, my jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Every now and then, I caught her stealing a quick glance in my direction, like she wanted to ask something and swallowed it down. By the time we pulled into the underground garage under the Vance Architecture Tower, my shoulders were locked and my hands felt like stone. We went straight to the 40th floor. Sterling had moved fast. The audit team was already in the conference room. I saw a thick file with my name on it and a stack of printed emails. Elena called me into her office. The glass was clear. Everyone on the floor could see us. She hit the frost button anyway. The room turned milky white. She stood behind her desk with the audit report in her hand. Tell me you did not do this, she said. Her eyes were on the papers, not on me. I did not touch that money, I said. You know I would never risk this firm like that. I know you have $600,000 in medical debt, she said, finally looking up. I know you are desperate. I know Sterling has your digital signature on the approval log for the transfer. He hacked my login, I said. I took a step closer, hands open. Or he used the shared terminal. This is not about me, Elena. This is about him. If I go down for embezzlement, you go down for not catching it. He gets what he wants. Your chair. I know that, she snapped. Her voice cracked on the last word. She took a breath, then another, smoothing her skirt with hands that were not steady. The board meets in 1 hour, she said. If I walk in there defending my fiancé, who looks guilty on paper, they will fire us both. They will take the firm I built and hand it to Sterling. I swallowed. My throat felt thick. I reached up, unhooked my ID badge and set it on her desk, face up. Not thrown, placed. Do what you have to do, I said. Her gaze stayed on the badge like it might burn her. I am suspending you, she said at last. Each word was slow and sharp. Pending investigation. Effective immediately, your access is revoked until the board reviews the evidence. She was not saving me. She was not damning me. She was putting me in limbo. Everyone would see me walk out without an answer. To them, that would be its own answer. And me? I asked. What do I do while you review the life I did not steal? I will hire a private investigator, she said. I will get the logs. I will clear your name. But right now, if the board thinks I am protecting the one person with a motive, they will burn us both before lunch. She finally looked up. Her eyes were wet, but her face was hard. I thought we were a team, I said. We were pretending, Elias, she whispered. Remember? The words hit harder than any punch. I pushed the badge a little closer across the glass. The plastic made a soft scrape. Right, I said. Good luck with the board, Miss Vance. I walked out. I did not look back, but as I hit the elevator button, I heard something shatter inside her office. Glass or ceramic. Maybe the mug she kept under her desk. I never asked. I spent 3 hours in a dive bar 2 blocks away. The kind with sticky floors, sports on mute, and a bartender who did not ask questions as long as you kept paying. I stared at my bank app until the numbers blurred. Savings almost gone. Credit lines maxed. The next hospital notice due in a week. I had lost my job without a verdict. The next step was my apartment. Then my father's care. My phone buzzed. Marcus. He was one of the junior techs at the firm. We ate lunch together sometimes. He was the kind of guy who loved servers more than people. I answered. Dude. He said, No, hello. His voice was high and tight. Tell me the truth, you did not sign that transfer, right? I did not touch it, I said. You know how many times I ask you to reset my password? I do not even like being near the accounting system. Okay, he rushed on. Because I pulled the approval log like you asked. It is stamped Tuesday, 9:58 in the morning, but it did not come from your machine. My heart kicked once. Then where? I asked. The server room terminal, he said. That thing is hardline only. No remote access. Badge swipe to get in, camera in the hallway. I checked the feed. One person goes in around 2:58 a.m. and comes out 10 minutes later. Let me guess, I said. Sterling, he said. Full suit, same tie as that day. I saved the footage. I copied the logs. It is all on a drive. If you can get it in front of the board, you can blow him up. Quote. I stared at the brown ring on the bar in front of my glass. For the first time all day, something like hope slid in next to the anger. Text me your address, I said. I am coming. Marcus handed me the USB in the doorway of his tiny apartment like it was a live grenade. I thanked him and walked back toward the office tower as the sky turned orange over the city. The board meeting was already in session when I stepped off the elevator on the 50th floor. Through the glass walls of the main conference room, I could see them. 12 board members in dark suits. Mr. Takahashi on the big screen video feed from his office. Sterling standing near the head of the table, talking with his hands like he was telling a funny story. Elena sat halfway down the table. Her shoulders were straight. Her face was blank. Her eyes looked empty in a way that scared me. Security moved toward me at the reception desk. Mr. Thorne, you cannot be up here, the guard said. You are suspended. The board is in session. Quote. I have the missing data for the Takahashi presentation, I said, holding up the USB like a pass. I kept my voice level and bored. If I do not get this in there, Miss Vance will have both our jobs. The guard hesitated. I did not. I walked past him and pushed open the conference room door. The room went quiet. A dozen heads turned. Elena's eyes widened. Sterling's smile died. Mr. Thorne, Sterling said in a sharp voice, you are out of line. Security will escort you out. Sit down, Sterling, I said. I did not raise my voice. I did not have to. The sound bounced off the glass. I did not look at him. I walked straight to the projector hub at the end of the table and plugged in the USB. The screen behind him flickered. If you are going to put me on trial, I said, turning to face the board, you should at least see all the evidence. Elena's eyes locked on mine. For the first time since she took my badge, she looked like she was breathing again. I took a deep breath of my own and hit play. The room filled with my heartbeat and the low whir of the projector. On the big screen behind Sterling, the security camera footage loaded. Gray hallway, dated timestamp in the corner, the server room door in the middle of the frame. For a second, nothing moved. Then, at 2:58 in the morning, a man stepped into view. Sterling. Same height, same build, same heavy walk, same suit from that day, same tie. He swiped his badge, opened the server room door, and disappeared inside. 10 minutes later, he came back out, straightened his jacket, checked the hallway, and walked away. The clip ended. Murmurs rolled around the table. This proves nothing. Sterling snapped. His face had gone pale. He turned to the board, forcing a tight smile. I checked the backups. Everyone knows that. That does not mean I touched any transfers. The approval log shows it was Elias. I clicked to the next file on the drive. The approval log flashed onto the screen. Time, date, terminal ID. Not my workstation. Not any normal office computer. Server room terminal, I said. Hardline only. No remote access. The only way to use it is to stand in that room and type. Quote. I let that sit. Now, I added, you can ask your tech guy to confirm all this. He has the same files, but I thought you might want to see who had both the access and the chance. Sterling's jaw clenched. A vein in his neck pulsed. "I did not do this," he said. "This kid is trying to save his own skin." I looked at him for the first time that day. "I am not a kid," I said. "I am the one who stayed up all night fixing your numbers while you were out whining and dining clients I brought in with my work. And I am not the one with a shell company and my wife's maiden name." I hit the next slide. On the screen, a short paper trail appeared. A transfer from the firm account to a consulting vendor with no website. A registration record with Sterling's wife's maiden name. A matching address. The room went silent. Sterling actually swayed in place. "How dare you?" he said, but the fire was gone from his voice. "I did not take the 50,000, I said, turning my attention back to the board. "But I am guilty of something else." I felt Elena's eyes on me like a hand. I looked at her. She sat very still, fingers pressed together on the table, knuckles white. Her eyes were bright. "Ms. Vance and I lied to you," I said to the board, but I did not look away from her. "We are not engaged. We never were. We faked it to make Mr. Takahashi feel more comfortable. We knew you did not trust a single woman at the top. We knew you liked the image of a nice, stable couple more than the truth." Gasps and sharp breaths echoed around the room. On the screen, Mr. Takahashi lifted one eyebrow, but he did not say a word. "Before you decide what kind of leader she is," I said, my voice steady, "look at what she actually did, not at what she pretended to be." I clicked again. A spreadsheet appeared. Last quarter's compensation lines highlighted in yellow. "She cut her own bonus," I said. That money kept junior architects and assistants in their jobs when a big project slipped. She took the hit, so the kids who just started here did not have to go home and tell their families they were laid off. Click! The Aspen cost ledger popped up next, then a scanned receipt with Elena's name on it and a personal credit card charge. When the Aspen site had an unexpected cost spike, I said, she covered it out of pocket so the schedule did not blow up and so you would not lose face with the client. I looked at each board member, one by one. "That is the integrity you are trying to smear," I said. Sterling opened his mouth. "Don't," I said quietly. "Just stop." He closed it. I picked up my ID badge from where I had set it on the table and turned it in my fingers. "My name is clear," I said. "You all just watched who actually moved the money." I placed the badge down again next to the USB. "But I did lie to you about one thing, and that is enough for me," I added. "So I am resigning, effective immediately." A wave of shock moved around the table again. You could feel the air shift. I was not fired. I was walking away. I looked at Elena. Her face had gone still. Too still. "Keep the client," I said to the board, but my words were for her. "Keep Ms. Vance. And if this firm has any spine left, remove the man who tried to steal from you and frame your staff for it." No one stopped me as I walked out. The hallway outside felt too bright. My legs shook a little, not from fear, but from the rush of being done. In the bullpen below, I went to my desk and got a cardboard box. I started stacking my life into it. Sketchbooks. Pens. The little plant that had died 2 months ago but I had not admitted was dead. A mug my sister had given me. I felt like I had sand in my veins. Heavy, slow, weirdly calm. "Elias!" Her voice hit me before I saw her. I turned. Elena was standing by my desk. The boardroom behind her was empty now. Her blazer was off. Her hair had come loose at one side. She looked like she had been through a fight. "Sterling is out," she said. "Good," I said. "You deserve a clear path." "And Mr. Takahashi," she added. "What did he say?" I asked. She huffed a small, disbelieving laugh. "He laughed," she said. "He said he knew we were faking it at the gala. He said we were terrible actors." I blinked. "He knew?" Quote, "He said he did not care," she said. "He said he watched us work at the cabin. He said the drawings were real. The teamwork was real. That is what he buys, not a ring." She stepped closer. "You resigned," she said, her voice softer. "I did not ask you to do that." "I had to," I said. "I lied. I wanted them to know you did not tell that story alone. And you have the firm. You do not need my mess tied to your name." I do not want the firm if it means you are gone, she said. My hand tightened around a roll of paper. Don't say that, I said. You worked your whole life for this. You were right to suspend me. It was procedure. I hated it, she said. Her voice shook now. Signing your suspension felt like cutting off my own hand. She walked over to her old cup of pens on my desk and picked it up. In the middle of all the expensive black pens, one yellow wood pencil stood out, sharpened to a perfect point. The same one she had used in Aspen to slash my design and fix my load. I did not move this, she said quietly. Not once. Not even when the cleaners came. Quote, she set the cup down and opened the top drawer of the unused filing cabinet by my station. Inside, neat and out of place among the forms and standard templates, were the Aspen drawings I had left on her desk the day of my suspension. The edges were soft from being handled. She laid them on the desk between us. I did not file these, she said. I kept them. It was not an apology. It was a truth. She looked at me like she was standing back at the edge of the snowbank, about to step off. Come back, she said. Not as my junior, as my partner. The word hit me like a second kiss. Partner, I repeated. In every sense, she said. Her gaze did not waver. The board knows the truth now. They kept me. They want you back. I told them that without you, I walk. I felt the air leave my lungs. You would really do that? I asked. I already did, she said. They voted. Sterling is gone. The Takahashi project stays with us. The only thing left is your answer. She reached out and took my hand across the messy desk. Her grip was firm. Warm. I did not make her wait. Yes, I said. 2 months later, the snow on the slopes above Aspen was fresh and bright, and the Takahashi Mountain Resort was ready. The main lodge glowed in the cold air. Glass, stone, steel, and the roof we had argued over now thick, with safe, steady snow. Reporters stood outside the main doors in thick coats, cameras ready. There was a red ribbon stretched across the entrance. The Takahashi logo shone on a banner behind the podium. I stood off to the side, messing with my tie for the 5th time. Nervous? Elena asked, stepping up beside me. She was in a winter white coat, dark hair smooth, lipstick dark red. She looked like every magazine cover I had ever seen, and also like the woman who had made me toast and listened to me talk about hospital bills at a cheap cabin table. Terrified, I said. You? She smiled. No, she said. You designed the roof. It will hold. We walked up to the podium together. Welcome, everyone, she said into the mic. Her voice was steady and warm. This project has been a labor of love, in more ways than one. There was a polite ripple of laughter. Cameras flashed. She looked back at me and smiled, real and unguarded. I want to introduce you to the lead architect on this project, she said. And my partner in every sense of the word, Elias Thorne. She stepped back and held out her hand toward the mic like she was handing me the spotlight she had guarded alone for 20 years. Instead of taking the mic, I took her hand. I leaned in close, my mouth near her ear. Everyone is watching, I whispered, the same words she had thrown at me in the Crimson Lounge the night this all started. Her fingers tightened around mine. Let them watch, she whispered back. Then she turned, grabbed my lapels with both hands, and pulled me down into a kiss right there in front of the board, the client, the cameras, and half the city. It was not a show. It was not a lie. It was slow and sure and full of every storm and fire we had walked through to get here. When we finally pulled apart, the crowd was clapping. Mr. Takahashi was grinning like he had known this would happen all along. I looked past the lights and the people, to the snow-covered roof, to the blue sky, to the mountains we had driven through. I had started this story broke, scared and alone, with a head full of designs and a heart full of debt. Now I had a firm that believed in me, a partner who challenged me and chose me, and a life that felt solid under my feet. Elena squeezed my hand once more. Ready? She asked. For what? I said. For the next thing we pretend to be, she said, eyes bright, until it becomes real. I laughed and lifted the giant scissors together with her as the ribbon stretched tight in front of us. I am ready, I said. We cut the ribbon as one. This time, the only thing we were pretending was that I was not already completely in love with her.